What exactly happened behind those doors? Who really decided Blake Ferguson was no longer part of this equation? You don't spend 4 straight years snapping balls for every single Dolphins game only to be tossed out like Tuesday's leftovers without someone, somewhere, making a conscious, deliberate call. This wasn't some clerical error. This wasn't just business as usual. Something shifted. Something cracked. And the fallout? It's louder than you think. He was there. Week in, week out. Reliable to the point of invisibility. You don't talk about the long snapper unless something's gone catastrophically wrong. And with Blake, it never did. Not until it did. That non-football illness list, that vague, frustrating category, swallowed him up in 2024. No press releases, no details, no timeline. Just gone. Vanished mid-season. And for months, silence. Then Thursday rolls around, and the team drops a list. Not a press conference. Not a statement. A list. Blake Ferguson. Ryan Cooper Jr. Neil Farrell. Chase and Hines. Names on a screen. Released like data points. The end of the road for some. A new beginning for none, at least not yet. But one of those names hits different. You can feel it. He was drafted in 2020. 6th round. LSU. There were no fireworks. Nobody loses their mind over a long snapper on draft day. But he earned that aqua and orange. Earned it every week. The man didn't miss a game from 2020 to 2023. That's not something you find in the margins of a depth chart. That's consistency. That's a heartbeat. And now, it's flatlined. And nobody's really saying why. So what are we left with? Speculation. And lots of it. Was it medical? Was it personal? Did something happen last year, behind the scenes, that fractured the trust? We'll likely never know. But what we do know is that Miami now stands without a long snapper on the roster. Not one. 0. And they didn't draft one either. Not even a rookie in camp to try out. That's not just a void. That's a neon sign blinking in the dark. Do they have a plan? You like to think so. But does this team ever do things the conventional way? Let's talk about that list a little more. Ryan Cooper Jr. came in with potential. Had the kind of raw edges that maybe, just maybe, could have been sharpened into something useful. But it never happened. He bounced around, and Miami wasn't the landing pad he needed. His exit? Quiet. Neil Farrell? He played in 7 games last season. 2 tackles. Not exactly the kind of production that earns you a second look. The Dolphins gave him a shot, and like a lot of mid-season ads, it didn't stick. Still, there was something there. A frame, a presence. Maybe he needed another camp. He won't get it. And Chase and Hines, what do you even say? Never got on the field. Practice squad guy. A name on a roster bubble that just popped. But Blake Ferguson? That one cuts deeper. He wasn't depth. He wasn't a maybe. He was part of the core. Special teams don't get headlines, but ask any coach. Ask any player, and they'll tell you. A bad snap ruins games. Period. Ferguson didn't ruin anything. He just did his job. Every single week. And maybe that's what makes this so jarring. It wasn't performance. It wasn't drama. It was just over. So now, the question lingers. Who's snapping the ball in 2025? Who's running out there on 4th and 6 from the 47, with the game hanging in the balance, and getting it to the punter without a second thought? Because right now, that person doesn't exist on the Dolphins roster. And that's not a small thing. That's not something you wait to fix. That's foundational. That's the kind of detail that makes or breaks seasons. But this front office, they play chess in a room where everyone else is playing checkers blindfolded. Or at least, that's how they want to be seen. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it leaves you wondering if they even remembered to bring the pieces. Was this about money? Unlikely. Blake wasn't on some bloated veteran deal. Was it attitude? Chemistry? Maybe. But again, no signs, no smoke. Just silence. There's an art to letting go of the right players at the right time. But there's also danger in cutting the wrong guy for reasons that only make sense inside a spreadsheet. You could feel the difference when Jakeem Grant left. You could feel it when Bobby McCain was cut. Culture, leadership, the guys in the locker room who say the things no one sees on camera. That stuff doesn't show up in PFF grades.